Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks, Toronto, for having me. I'm here all the way from Denver, Colorado. It's actually warmer in Denver. You wouldn't think so, but it is. So, I was asked to come here and speak about my journey as a Black woman in the C-suite, in the engineering space, and I thought, how am I going to articulate myself without sounding jaded, or overzealous, or comedic? I haven't figured out how to do it. Because it is comedic that in the USA workplace, 1 out of 8 people are Black. 13%. Yet there's only 6 Black CEOs in Fortune 500 companies. That's a measly 1% if you're not doing the math quickly. Pretty comedic. When you talk about Black women, it gets even worse. We're 2 out of 500. Not even a percentage. I couldn't even find anything on Canadian numbers, so you got me there. We all know this is bad for business because diversity of thought brings a competitive edge. So why are we having all these issues? 200 years, well, really 400, and we're still behind. All right, well, we all know what the issues are because they're on here, plus this would be full with verbiage if I really wanted to talk about all the issues, but we're not gonna do that today. We're gonna single in on my journey and how did I get here despite all the odds. All right, the time and place, 90s Los Angeles. Fresh Prince was dictating the airwaves and Bloods and Crips were dictating my neighborhood. This was obviously before the current gentrification. I had a dream. I was bused to Brentwood Elementary Science Magnet, and I wanted to be either an astronaut, like most kids, or a rocket scientist. Unlike most kids, I was actually successful. I received my bachelor's in aerospace engineering with a focus in astronautics and worked for the Boeing company for over a decade. So what did I do? I worked in research and development in subthermal systems, specifically computational fluid dynamics, CFD analysis. Super fancy way of saying make sure the spacecraft doesn't get too hot or too cold, because if it does, it will explode. Then I transitioned into working on energy-efficient buildings while at the Boeing company, specifically for the DoD, working to make energy security increased while decreasing energy consumption. Don't know if you guys knew this, but the U.S. spends, well, Department of Defense in the U.S. spends $9.2 billion on energy worldwide. So we were helping them curtail that energy usage. That is more than 47 GDPs. Congo, Haiti, Fiji, Belize, I mean, the list goes on. I then went to the University of Colorado at Boulder to get my bachelor's in mechanical engineering to focus on building systems, and also study management and science at Stanford as I started focusing on the programming and managing $50 to $80 million in projects. So then I left and went to another Fortune 500 company that focused mainly on engineering and construction. And it was there that I got asked these asinine questions. Okay, so over 15 years of experience, I have 3 degrees from the best schools in the US. Are you an intern? When are you graduating? Thinking about which time, which degree. So, when you're being asked these asinine questions, I got 3 options of how I could answer this. 1, I could act like I don't speak English. I mean, that's always an option, no speaking of English. Or I could be civil and respectfully inform them of my credentials. Or I could say, fuck it, leave and start my own path. I selected option number 3. So SynEnergy was born. SynEnergy was and still is an engineering firm focused on mechanical and electrical engineering and for high-performance buildings, meaning data centers. We do a lot of work at higher eds. We do a lot of work for hospitals, airports, anything that's a huge building that has a lot of energy, we work to curtail it. Specifically, we find energy efficiency solutions coupled with financial analysis so owners of these buildings could understand their return on investment prior to construction. So now I'm in a C-suite. I'm paving my own way, and I still have challenges, but the challenges are different. Main challenge being that double standard. If Todd has a bad day, make a mistake, oh, there's compassion. But let a black woman make a mistake, and we'll never hear the end of it. The second challenge is really how do we change that narrative? So the narrative needs to be changed, and one way to do that is by mentorship. So we need to make sure that everyone in here takes the onus in mentoring a black young person. No one's born a CEO, all right? Everyone in here, doesn't matter where you fall in the org chart, can take the initiative to make that mentorship. If we create in the talent today for the leaders tomorrow, this outcome will be different. Another thing that we can do to change the narrative, and when I say change the narrative, so people like us are visible in this space, is marketing. I bet everyone in here can name at least 5 black athletes. No question. And those same said athletes, you see them on billboards, multi-million-dollar campaigns that reinforce the we are great athletes. But tell me, how many people in here have seen a multi-million-dollar campaign for black engineers? Black people rep in the engineering space. Raise your hand if anyone has seen a multi-million-dollar campaign with blacks repping engineering space. No one. Shocking. Well, just imagine if we did. What would be the impact? Number one, it would change our thought process, right? It would change our thought process and how we see ourselves and how the majority sees us. Number two, it would be inspirational to our youth. And number three, if you could see it, you could be it. All right, audience, my time is ticking, so I'm going to unveil, making history, the first multi-million-dollar advertising campaign with a black person or a black-run engineering firm. Does she look familiar? This campaign is currently at Denver International Airport, and I am partnering with a multinational advertising firm to take this campaign national. So we can change the narrative. So we can see people like you and me as we walk down the street, and we're representing STEM careers, specifically engineering, specifically tech, not just athletes. That, my friend, is what we need to do to change the narrative. If you can see it, you can be it.